Hey everybody, it's Dr. Lisa Ann Homick from Homick Advanced Chiropractic and also Brain First Boot Camp. It is 2022. Happy New Year. My first video of the year. I kind of took a break. So I'm back and welcome. Why am I here on these videos? Well, number one, you need to grow your talents every day. The world needs to benefit from your talents. You need to be a full participant in the world. Of course, you can't do that with an impaired brain, so I teach you how to take excellent care of your brain. Now, I say grow your talents, that's a short version. What I really want you to do is expand your talents beyond your comfort zone. And with the Brain First Body Follows protocol that I teach, I help people understand what their body is doing and why. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to run to some disease name. You don't have to poison it with drugs. That's just the way it is. Brain First, Body Follows. You tell me you've got a symptom. This hurts here, there, everywhere. It's not about the body part. It does get your attention, but you got to backtrack and go to the brain. What is the brain doing? Because the brain prioritizes and the brain chooses. And if you're having a pain that you don't like, your brain chose it for a reason. And I'm here to help you understand that, because this is not really common knowledge. And that's why the title of today's video is Chronic Pain is Chronic Ignorance. Let's dive into it right now. So I say this with the most loving intention. I'm not calling you ignorant. I'm just describing how you have never had the opportunity to experience this information. That's all it is. This never ended up on your radar. And I can tell you, a lot of things didn't end up on my radar until maybe recently, maybe the last 20 years. And now I'm sharing that with you because we all grew up with the same common idea. Symptoms are bad, you're going to have a disease, and every disease is completely different. And every disease needs a completely different treatment plan, even in chiropractic. So I'm slowly deprogramming myself from all these ideas that just make you spin your wheels. I'm done spinning my wheels, and I'm going to tell you today, chronic pain is chronic ignorance. It just means you haven't ever stumbled upon this information before, and I'm here to share that with you. Now, I've got a handout that I just made for my practice members, and I'm going to give you a little quick reading of it. I'm going to introduce it to you right now, but keep it simple is the mantra for today. Keep it simple. There's only 2 rules for life and health. 2 rules. Very simple, very simple. Your body can only be in one of 2 phases. You don't call it a disease state. You're not going to say, I have a state of arthritis. I have a state of bronchitis. I have a flu. I have a cold. I have a blister on my toe. We don't need to get into those kinds of specifics. They're fun. They give you something to talk about. Yup, you can look it all up on Wikipedia and WebMD. It's just time wasting. And it puts your brain in the wrong concentration. You're concentrating on anxious things that make you upset, which adds more messing up of your balance. We got to stay in the balance. And your brain wants to stay balanced. There's only 2 phases. There's a state of protection and there's a state of rebuilding. And here's where we need to really be honest about everything. Your body can only be in a state of protection. That's the fight or flight response. It's helping you survive something the body perceives as dangerous and needs an imminent response, the fight or flight response. And then when the fight or flight response is over, you go into the rebuilding stage. Here's the problem. We stay in fight or flight too long, and we stay in it too often. We put ourselves in a hypervigilant state of fight or flight. That's unnecessary. But we let it happen because we have a lot of anxiety. We've got a lot of perceived notions. We've got a lot of beliefs that get us into that hypervigilant state. So part of the problem is getting you to calm down, change your beliefs in some instances, and get yourself out of situations that don't make your life better. All right, I said 2 rules, but the interventions might be a little bit more involved. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to keep it simple. There's 2 rules and there's 2 interventions. Now, if you're in too much fight or flight, that actually suspends the rebuilding process. So you cannot rebuild your tissues, your muscles, your collagen. You don't repair your cartilage. And we know the body heals. You've got a tear in the shoulder, they heal. They heal. We know tons of people who've healed their own tears. You're losing, what's the famous thing? Bone on bone. Okay, yeah, bone on bone. But does that mean you're going to be in an irreversible state of health? I don't know. Do we really have to go that far? I don't know. Bone on bone is just one of those sayings I can't stand hearing anymore. Because a lot of people they could be bone on bone and have no clue. They never got that x-ray. They never got that doctor to say, oh, you're bone on bone. It's the end. It's the end for you. We got to implant some kind of artificial tool, artificial hip, artificial knee, so on and so forth. So when you suspend the rebuilding process, if you're in fight or flight for too long or too often, you cannot get replenished. Here's intervention number 1, calm the fight or flight response. Here's intervention number 2, replenish your reserves so the rebuilding stage can finish the job. Because when you're incomplete, you're weak, you're going to get worse. Oh, I can't say that word because that means I'm diagnosing and prognosing. We don't do that. We don't do that. But if you're weak, you're not going to be able to handle your activities of life. You're not going to be able to handle stress because there's always going to be stress. And we got to be ready for that every day. And if you don't replenish adequately, you're going to be weak and you're not going to be able to perform well. You're going to be disappointed. You might even injure yourself. And that injury may not heal well and rebuild itself properly. And that injury will lead to another injury, to another injury. I don't want you to get weaker and weaker and weaker because all disease in their world, what they call disease, is just an exhausted nervous system. Chronic pain is an exhausted nervous system. Chronic pain is usually programmed into the limbic system when you didn't effectively deal with it in the first place, when you didn't effectively calm that fight or flight response. The brain switches gears, and your pain signals are more sensitive and they're more chronic. Chronic just means you've programmed it really well into your brain, and your brain learns everything you taught it. What do? Here's the 2 interventions: calm the fight or flight response and replenish the reserves. So part of calming your fight or flight is to get chiropractic care because it immediately disrupts the fight or flight so your prefrontal cortex can resume normal function. Exercise is going to help you detox those fight or flight hormones. Get them out of your body. Get rid of them. If you balance your emotions and do stress management, you will avoid excessive fight or flight. A lot of the stresses you can get out of your life. We can't get rid of all stress. Some stress just happens. Freak accidents, whatever. But a lot of stress you can kick to the curb. And you know what I'm talking about. It usually has to do with your job and relationships. Yep. How do you replenish your reserves so the rebuilding stage actually gets completed? You finish the job, you carry it all the way through? Well, a keto diet, it's the original human diet, and standard processed supplements. Because we got to put back what the body burned during fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, you took money out of your energy bank. And when you're in the replenishing phase, you're putting money back into the energy bank. But if you're using cheap materials, it's going to be weak and ineffective. Also, chiropractic is going to support digestion so you can actually assimilate your nutrients, get them where they need to go. You can actually rebuild your cells and your muscle fibers and your collagen. Chiropractic supports every organ in the body. So stick with it. That's why we have the wellness program, the maintenance program. And let's not ignore sleep. Sleep detoxes and replenishes your brain. You need to listen to your body's fatigue signals. Why? Because it's telling you it's time to slow down and rebuild. If you want to understand more about why chronic pain is chronic ignorance, because you've programmed your brain, you want to learn how to reprogram it. Get rid of the old and put in the new. Put in a pattern that is actually more meaningful and more rewarding. It's all about the brain and what the brain has learned. And we're reteaching our brain every day with exposures. What are you exposing your brain to? What can we help you do to change those exposures? Eliminate what's not helpful and increase what's really awesome and helpful. That's why I became a chiropractor, and that's why the brain first approach is so important. Are you ignorant? No. You just never came across this kind of information before. I want you to visit my blog, check out the other videos, and of course, get in touch with me. Let's get you under chiropractic care and Brain First Boot Camp. Thanks for watching. Look for the next video.